Welcome. Hello, everybody. Well, we're live, and what we decided to do, obviously, we changed the gears a little bit. I was sitting down with my team, and I said, "Listen, when we do these live Q and A's, teaching people how to make money with dispatching, this is where we usually come up with the topic for ourselves and we said, okay, we will talk about X, Y, and Z. And we sit down for about like 40 minutes, maybe in an hour or maybe longer, is sitting and we talking about whatever the topic we choose. Then what we decided now to do, instead of we deciding what to say and structuring this Q&A and answering your questions, but what we decided to do is just like, why don't we get questions from you and writing down these questions in my notebook, and then we'll just go one by one. Let's say the people already asking questions. For example, this question from Boritason, I think. So what I'll do is basically I'll take the question and write it down. Okay, so this sounds like a paperwork process, right? And so then first one will be the paperwork process. Then second, if you guys have questions, this is how we will structure the Q&A. Basically, this is like I'll be helping you with the questions, but then you guys tell me what are your questions, what you want to hear, how to make money in like with dispatching, how to become a carrier, like should I buy trucks, how to use a load board, how to access the load board, how to build a team, find a team, like can I do this overseas, what's the market condition right now, anything related to business. We're not limited. You can ask marketing questions, you can ask sales questions. But what I wanted to see is basically the questions coming from you guys. So I'll take this will be the first question from this subscriber that we have. I'll take a note, and it says, how do independent freight dispatcher handle the signing up for a carrier packet after calling the freight brokers? So this is basically a paperwork process. So the number one question will be, and while I'm writing, guys, if you have a question, please post. I will take your question. I will write it down, and then we'll go one by one. So we need about let's say maybe 5 questions. I will take the 5 questions, and we'll start talking. We'll do in the Q&A. I'll help you whatever the questions you might have, and then if we have time, we'll take another 5 questions, and this is how we move forward. So first question will be paperwork. Okay, so paperwork process. This is basically, and I'm writing the questions. This is basically from getting a carrier, talking to a broker, finding a load, booking a load, and actually getting paid. So the entire process, I'll just lay down, and you guys have questions specifically related to paperwork, you can ask questions. So then second question I have, Abbas Khan says, sales question. Great. This is how to convince carrier, the company, meaning carrier, to work with us. That's awesome. So that's a sales question. How to convince, okay, how to convince a carrier. Okay, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. We recently, our students started getting, we started giving them the sales funnels. So people started getting, carriers. I'll share the marketing tactics and strategies. And again, when we say like sales question, it will start basically from finding a carrier, talking to a carrier, in onboarding a carrier. And that's basically like convincing the carrier working with you, right? So you'll be amazed that when we start talking about the carrier, you'll realize that finding a carrier is actually very, very easy, right? So there are 2 things happening. And again, this is, I don't know, by nature, I'm just diving into talking about the, like already teaching it, but this is what it is. Well, for newcomers, people in the freight dispatching, when they coming to let's say into freight dispatch, and what they need to know is how to actually use load board and dispatch. Then second, this is where you need to get carrier so that you can dispatch. So don't confuse with the business side of the dispatching side of the business, but first is a skill, then business. So if you have a skill, then you don't know how to get a carrier, that's a different story. But there's a like two ways, right? One is to get the skill first, be good at it, then go and find a carrier. Some people maybe just watch a couple of videos and think that it's easy actually finding a load, booking a load, dispatching a load, and then just dive right in and creating their LLCs, and then like, oh wow, I need to learn the skill first. Yes, why? Because it's very easy to jump into like a business side of it, right? Creating your LLC, creating your logos, that's actually the easy part, right? The most important part is here, learning the skill. Okay. So, guys, and again, what we're doing for the newcomers, what we're doing is taking questions. So, we need about 5 questions to begin. First one is the paperwork. Second is the sales call. This is actually from Abbas Khan. It says how to convince a carrier. Then, third one, Ali Haidar says, I'm not seeing a spot rates, meaning the loads, the rates that are posted into the load board. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about here, getting better anytime soon. They're getting worse. What do you think? Will the market get any better? That's a question. Brokers are mostly keeping more what they should be paying the carriers. So, well, this is business. Some people, even if they're getting good brokers and they paying good, know this is a business. Some people may survive in this business, some people not, but again, not going into detail. So we need for this one actually what would be the market condition. So for this one we will say the market condition, and we'll come back to this one market. So we need 2 more questions to begin the Q&A. Please watching, so about 12 14 people are watching. Please comment your question, whatever. Just say, Robert says, good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Robert. So just whatever the question might comes to your mind, please ask. There is an operational side questions. How to operate, let's say, business. How to operate trucking business. How to buy, trucks. How to finance, trucks if you're interested in becoming a carrier. And for those of you who are following me, you guys know that I was a carrier. I owned 4 trucks. I was in the flatbed market. So buying a truck, hiring a driver, if you're a dispatcher, interested in becoming a dispatcher, how to become a dispatcher, how to dispatch trucks, what load boards to use, what type of load boards to use, what would be the subscription level, like should I buy $45 per month, should I get $200 per month, what's the software, what's the tool, what's the CRM, any questions, ask me, and then we'll take it from there. So Robert, awesome. Robert says, which DAT load board would you suggest? And are we able to get on it at all with their new processes? Okay, so basically, Robert, what we can do is we can say that this is a how to access a load board. So this third one was market conditions. Okay, then fourth question, and again, we need one more question so that we can start talking. Answering your questions. So again, the reason, as I said at the beginning, the reason why we do this is because you guys basically structuring the Q&A. It's not me talking. It's basically, hey, like if you're here and if you're generous giving your time for free, then please, these are the questions that I really need to get answered. That's it. You just ask, I'll deliver. So Robert, your question, how to access a load board, right? Basically. And then obviously I will suggest what type of load boards you need to get when you're starting out. Obviously, when you're starting out, I don't want you to like spend too much money, meaning you keep your expenses low and it will start with the minimum. And again, remember 2 sides. One is getting the skills, getting good at finding a load, booking a load, dispatching a load, meaning dispatching side of it, meaning the skill. Then you can move to kind of building a business. 4 was the accessing load board. Okay, access DAT load board. Okay. And then I think last one comes from Robert again. How would you, so if it's about taking care of your carrier's issues. Carrier's issues example when they call and their load has shifted. Well, that means, Robert, I think you're one of our students. That's why. So in the training, there is a question was about like what will happen if it's, the load was shifted. So now I got it. So based on the last name, I realized that you're one of our students. Okay, so we'll take this one as well. Then fifth question by Robert was how to handle the carrier's issue, okay, or load issue. How to handle carrier or load issue. Load issue. What issues? Okay. So then Lena says conversation to get a direct customers or shippers. Like how to get Lena, can you just add a this? Are you looking for as a carrier or as a dispatcher? Because it's very important to mention this. So if you're like, I'm a carrier, how to get a direct shipper. If you're a dispatcher, let me know, and then I will give you why I asked this because it's very important. How to get direct shippers. Sixth, how to get direct shippers. How to get direct shippers. Okay. But then we need to know, like, as a carrier or as a dispatcher. Okay, so cool. As a dispatcher. There's a reason why I asked this question, because as a dispatcher, it's illegal for a carrier. I got it. You're a dispatcher and you need to get a shipper, meaning direct customer to your carrier, for your carrier. Well, let me say this because this is very important and we'll start the conversation. As a dispatcher, at least in the United States, it's illegal to get, like, you as a dispatcher talking to shippers saying that, hey, I have a carriers, let's move your quote unquote stuff. You can't do that. Why? Because for this you need a broker MC. That means you must be a broker in order to do that. The dispatchers, they can't do that, right? So I really wanted to clarify this, but I'm glad you asked. So there are 6 questions. First one, we will start with the paperwork. Then second one, we will talk about how to get a carrier. Third question, we'll talk about the market condition, meaning the spot market rates. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What will happen, right? But then by Robert, the fourth question was accessing the load boards. Yeah, absolutely. Then load issues. The number one question was, what will happen when your carrier calls you at the middle of the day or middle of the night that, hey, wake up, load shifted. We need to do something. Like what to do in that case, right? And then sixth, obviously by this question by Lena, says how to get direct shippers. But then this is important that we know that dispatchers cannot do that. Right? So you must be a broker. So let's begin with the paperwork. Are you guys happy? Really, this is the, I think, the format. Instead of me just, hey, let me talk about this. I think you guys like it. And you guys sitting like, what are you talking about? So I want to know this. I want to know that. So basically, this Q&A session, you guys formatted, right? So you basically are asking questions and I'm delivering it. So let's start with the paperwork process. So when you're a dispatcher, first you need, obviously, remember this, I think this will be the theme for this training today, that there's 2 sides or 2 ingredients in this like whole dispatcher journey. First one is you need to know the skill, finding a load, booking a load, dispatching a load. You're really good at using a load board. Then you start your business, which is like creating your LLC, attracting your carriers, and start delivering, right? Meaning serving these carriers. So I assume that you know how to dispatch. Now you have a skills and you're looking for carriers. So you start building your business. Maybe you started filing your LLCs. And by the way, let those questions come in. Now I'll just take those questions, write them down. So since we have about 6 questions, let's get started with the conversation, and then I'll start taking those questions as well. So whatever pops up to your mind, please ask. The moment you realize that you're a good dispatcher, you looking for a carrier, the first thing should happen is the dispatcher carrier agreement. That's the one of the FMCSA rule. It's an agency. I'm not going into talking about the FMCSA. You can Google it and Google it and ask hey, what is FMCSA, right? So that's basically an agency. So you have a dispatcher carrier agreement, you have a carrier, you guys both signed. Now you are dispatching. So just really fast. You have a load board subscription, and don't ask me for a load board subscription because we already have a question. We'll come back to that, right? So how to access. That's the question number 4. Now, when you log in to your load board, let's say DAT Load Board. Let's say this load board is DAT1 Select. This is what I have. So DAT1 Select in your carrier located in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So your trucks are located, my truck's located in Atlanta, Georgia. You're one of my dispatchers. And I said, okay, these 4 trucks, 2 of those trucks going to Houston, Texas. What do? You log in, you put Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas, and you start looking for a load. Let's say there is a load popped up and you call the broker and negotiated the rate, and there's a 2 situation. Situation number 1, you're not set up with the broker, or you already hauled or transported load for this broker. That means meaning as a carrier, you dispatch a load for this or moved a load for this broker, right? That's a different scenario. Why is different? Because when you never hauled any load for this particular broker, the broker will just check your MC, motor carrier number, and then will ask, well, I don't see that we are set up. Then what will happen next? Excuse me. The next thing will happen, your broker will send you a carrier packet. What is carrier packet? Carrier packet is basically broker sending a broker carrier agreement. There's a bunch of stuff that he's requesting from your carrier, like insurance, the dispatcher, the broker carrier agreement to sign all those good stuff. So then what you do is he's basically going over the broker carrier agreement. Whatever he needs, you just basically providing. And where are you getting those documents? You're getting those documents from your carrier. So basically, you're taking from the carrier and give to the broker. So now what will happen? Now this broker will get you set up. That means now anytime you call, anytime this broker posts a load, now you can call and book a load for a carrier, for this particular carrier, meaning for me, right? I'm just using myself as an example. And you won't have any issues, right? So just to mention my MC number, and I'll say, okay, I see you're set up. Okay, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for this load coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, goes to Houston, Texas, and you pay $3,000. It's a partial load. So it picks up today, delivers, I don't know, maybe Friday, right? So what will happen if you and the broker, you meaning your dispatcher, and a broker agreed on a load? What will happen? Broker will send you one of the important documents called rate confirmation, right? So rate confirmation is basically, it's a document, it's an important document, it's an agreement between you as a carrier. And again, don't be confused like, man, I am a dispatcher. You are a dispatcher, but you're representing a carrier. When you're talking to a broker, you basically represent my company. So remember, when you have this dispatcher carrier agreement, this is where I'm giving you the limited power of attorney. The limited power of attorney basically means that, like, as a carrier, I'm giving you the little bit of a think about the power to use or permission to use my company to dispatch loads. That's what it is, right? So now the rate confirmation comes to you via email. So then you take a look, you go in over the like nitty gritty things. There will be a lot of things that broker will ask. Hey, you need to be at this time. You need to have this specific trailer. You need to do that, do this. Then once you gone over the rate confirmation, you sign and send back to the broker. Now, one copy is yours, another copy is for the broker. That's it. Now your load is yours. Okay, that means your carrier load. So what will happen next is you basically dispatch this load to your carrier, right? Where am I picking up this load? What's the load number, right? So you basically take that, give it to your carrier driver, and then driver goes and picks up that load, and it delivers it. So once it's delivered, you will get something called a POD. POD stands for proof of delivery. I know it seems like it's too much for some people, but it's actually when you dispatch one or two loads, it's just like second nature. It's very, very easy process. The reason why I said it's actually hit me because when I was starting dispatching, when people like my friends teaching me this, like dispatching, I was like, what? There are a lot of steps to do. And then, well, yeah, because this is something new and your brain cannot comprehend, like, wow, that's too much. But then it's very, very easy. The whole process from finding a load, booking a load, and all the paperwork process, it could be like done within 10, 20 minutes, including finding a load, booking a load, right? So the signing a rate confirmation, sending back, to, like everything. But then I'm not talking about the delivery. So once it's delivered, there's a POD. POD stands for proof of delivery. So you take that proof of delivery and the copy of the rate confirmation, you then start the process of getting paid. So hope that makes sense, because if I go into details like how you get paid, that's a totally different question, because now we're just talking about the paperwork process. If you want me to go into details like how to get paid, then we need to talk about like factoring companies, how to upload, what are the like CRMs like you're going to use, those kind of things. So if you want me to like go in depth, ask me, I'll go there. So check mark for the question number one. Are we good so far? We're good? Awesome. Do you want me to keep going? Great. Oh, wow. Awesome. So next, second question was how to get a carrier, right? So I think it was a question by Abbas Khan. It says how to convince a carrier company to work with. Wow, this is an awesome question, and there is a reason why. Well, if think about, I teach this inside the group that we have. When we go to a doctor's office, like doctors never convince us, let's say for the treatment. So we need them. Think about like we as a carriers. Well, it's an example. We go to a doctor because we are in pain. We need to fix something. I have a high blood pressure. I have pain. I have pain like, I don't know, tooth pain, like anything. Like I broke something or something like that. But then doctors never convince us. They know that if a patient in pain, they'll come to us. Well, that's a good analogy. When you think this way, you're not thinking about convincing them. Convincing is when somebody says, no, I don't want to work with you. Like, go away. Like, I don't want to work with you. And then you start convincing, hey, listen, I do this, I do that. Please work with me. That's a kind of convincing, right? So instead of that, what I want to share with you is think about when you chase a cat runs away. When you have, let's say, what cat wants, and you just show to a cat, hey, here's a milk, for example, and cat will come to you. You're not chasing. You're not even convincing a cat to, hey, here is a milk, drink, right? So what that means is basically we need to give a carrier what they're looking for, right? So what do I mean? Well, there are two types of carriers out there. Yes, there are two types of carriers out there. Carriers that they're not looking for independent freight dispatching services, please take notes. This is important. There are two types of carriers. One, I'm not looking for independent freight dispatching services. There is one, I am desperately, like I'm desperate right now. I desperately need help from a dispatcher. I'm looking for in the market right now for a dispatcher. That's a total different story. So one doesn't need my services, and I'm going into this carrier and like, I want to work with you, work with me, and I'm start convincing it. No. Don't convince a carrier. You just give a carrier what he wants or she wants, and that's it. You basically attracting your carrier. So two types of carriers. Don't want to work with dispatchers. Don't call me. Just stay away. Another group of carriers, I want to work with you. I'm in the market right now looking for a good dispatcher. Okay. So then how we are going to attract? So see, when you want to attract, think about this platform, YouTube. How am I attracting you guys? About 15 people watching now. How am I attracting? Different part of the world. You guys are watching. How am I attracting? I have a YouTube channel. And I give free value, teach, answer your questions. And what am I doing? I'm attracting you into my world. So that means you need social media channels. I don't know. I don't need, like, I'm not good at video. I'm not good at talking to people. I'm introvert. I'm this, I'm that. But think about some people, I think people think that I'm an extrovert, meaning I'm a people person. Like I'm by myself in my office, I'm an actually introvert. When they're looking at me and like, wow, like you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have about 12,000 people in your Facebook group, like you're talking, you're confident. Watch my first video on YouTube. The oldest video, you will see that I'm not even showing my face because I'm like so embarrassed. Embarrassed what? Like so embarrassed my English because back then I was like barely speak English. But then, man, I want to do stuff, right? So not going into the motivation, inspiration type of, talking. But then what I'm trying to say is that at some point, if you wanted to work with people, I want to share something very important. My father used to say, money, are you guys ready for this? Money comes from people. So be good with people. See, like you need to work with people, talk to people, because Lena says that's me. So I don't know if you're an introvert or an extrovert, that's what you mean, but then we need to work with people, talk to the people. Like this is like 100% honesty, total transparency. I'm sharing the knowledge with you. For what reason? Well, I assume that some of you, not all of you, some of you might be interested in my services. What are the services you have? Well, dispatching. I teach people how to become independent freight dispatchers, right? That's what I do. And some people who are interested in becoming independent freight dispatcher, just they emailed me or they go to the links that we have below every video that I have on YouTube. They reach out to me. I was like, hey, I watched your YouTube videos. I like it. Can I join your group or can I join your course? Yes, that's my business. I was a carrier before pandemic, during pandemic, failed it. Now I know why I failed it, and I started teaching people how to become independent freight dispatchers because I succeeded because I had about 25 owner operators back then. So then completely shut down everything and started teaching people, right? So The number one reason, I think, I love teaching. That's what it is. So now coming back, attracting people, you need to post content. Now, when you post content, you have two options. One, showing your face like I do, right? And I'm nervous. And this is one of the reasons why I talk fast. It's not that I'm confident, it's because I am nervous. And I'm right in front of you. I'm sharing this. I am nervous because I know like people, like real people all over the world, they're watching me right now. They're judging me. Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. I don't know. Comment and let me know. So then posting content, showing your face. Then second is basically faceless. What that means is that I will give you an example. Inside the group, I teach my students how to basically post content without showing your face. The TikTok strategy that I share with my students. So you don't have to show your face. And if you like, can you give me an example? How am I going to attract these people and not to convince those carriers? So this is what I teach. Create a TikTok account. If you have a load board subscription, this is what I teach. For those students that they have load boards, I said literally, take your phone and start just recording your screen and talking about the loads that are available. Well, I get thousands of views. Students that they're literally just started from zero within a couple of weeks get like 40, 50, followers and get thousands of views. And what will happen then, obviously, TikTok will start show to the people who are interested in load boards, people like brokers, people like dispatchers and carriers. So I do have a TikTok account when I post, and I just post like recording my screen. Some of you maybe, watched one of my videos. And what I do is, it's just like, hey, this is an awesome tool. Well, it's a load board. This load goes from Atlanta to Houston, whatever. Sometimes I don't even talk. It's just background music. And what do you think? Thousands of views, and carriers start what? DMing me, meaning direct message, sending me messages. Hey, Kamal, I watched this. Hey, man, can you dispatch? Hey, man, I have this equipment, that equipment. See, I'm telling you, people are out there using social media. So that's number one, right? Number one has two ways: faceless videos, showing your face, talking. Abbas Khan says, got it. Oh, wow, that's an awesome stuff. Cool. Wow. So now the second is creating what we call the sales process. Sales process, think about website, but it's guided. 2 to 3 pages. And I give this to my students. This is how you get that link and start driving traffic. Driving traffic meaning send people to the link that you have. So basically, this is how you attract. And Abbas, this is what I'm trying to say. Not convincing, attracting. So from today, think not convincing, but attracting. Post content and people will come to you. Hope that makes sense. And again, guys, if you have questions, please ask. So second question, check mark. Now, we have market conditions. Third question. Fourth question is accessing DAT Load Board. Then we have how to handle the problems that carriers might have. And the last one is how to get direct shippers. Now, I think this question was by, market condition was, I think, by Ali Haidar, right? I think, yeah, there you go. So this is the question. This is number 3. So I'm not seeing spot market getting better. Spot market, basically, these are the lows that are being posted on the load boards. So there's a contracted rate, meaning your carrier working directly with shipper. Think that way. And then spot market, think about like on the spot rates, meaning lows that are being posted where? Into the load board, right? So basically what Ali trying to say is that, man, I'm looking at the load board. I don't see good loads. They're paying less. What it is, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening. So, and they're getting worse, right? Worse meaning they're not paying good, okay? Now, what do you think? What I think, as far as like market, will it get better? Maybe worse? Maybe something will happen. I know something that I want to share with you. Then brokers are mostly keeping more what they should be paying the carriers. Man, for me, it's like I don't want to take sides, but I think brokers, majority of the brokers that I work with, I admire them, I love them. These people do a lot of work. Although we carriers slash dispatchers, maybe at some point we hate brokers, maybe, but then these people do a lot of work. Basically, these people bringing a lot of business to you. This is one of the reasons why you're looking at the spot market. So when the market condition was really good, you were or I was booking loads with these brokers. What happened? It's not only that they became more greedy and became more hungry and they wanted to like take everything. Most of the brokers that I know, they care like more about carrier business than their business. Trust me. And again, like I'm not a broker, but that's basically what it is. Okay, let's talk about the spot market. Guys, technology evolves, we're evolving. There are a lot of AI things. Technology is the number one game right now. What I mean by that? Well, think about 5, 6 years ago, everybody using load boards. I'm not talking about the condition is bad, market is bad, supply chain is disrupted, that supply chain and demand, I mean, supply and demand disrupted, this happened, that happened. I'm not even talking about the inflation, bad economy, war. No, I'm talking about the technology. So, what I mean by that, a lot of brokers right now, they use their own load boards. Simple. That's period. That's what it is. A lot of brokers, they really wanted to have the control, the grip of their business. They're creating their own load boards. Do you have the access to those load boards? Have you thought about this? What I mean by this, think about 80/20 principle. 80% of the loads that are being posted onto the load board, they're actually 20% of the brokers that are posting 80% of the loads onto the load board. So if majority of 20% of these brokers now kind of switched gears and they built or building their own platform and posting their loads there, what do you see? You see these rates, right? So, and another thing, obviously, if the broker using a load board, I talked about this in the previous videos, but I'll touch a little bit like quickly, is the private network. Private network inside the load board is basically where brokers posting the load or loads, and they're telling the DAT like, hey, I want I wanted to work with these types of carriers or these carriers that are in my network. For those people, don't show the loads that I post. So that's the private network. That's what it is, right? And that's the second thing that where you that well, actually, that's a problem. This is why you don't see lows and you see basically what's left off. On top of that, we have the inflation, we have the bad economy, war going on, like wars going on, like a lot of things going on in the supply and demand, like cost of living increase, all those things associated with this. So then, what am I thinking? I'm thinking that I think there's still people making good money, meaning carriers and brokers, but they're leveraging the technology. That's what's happening, right? So, what about like spot market in general? What do you think? Will it get better? Well, obviously it should. It must go better. When? I have no idea. Be honest with you. That's like 100% honesty, like total transparency. I have no idea. I don't know. But it could get better this month, next month, maybe in the summer, maybe next year, maybe 5 years from now. But remember one thing, that people making money with dispatching, with being a broker, with being a carrier. So I hope this helps. And And what was the? Let me see if I answered all of it. Like brokers keeping. Well, we actually talked about this. So a lot of brokers, they they care about their carriers, and we talk about like small percentage of brokers that may be greedy, maybe hungry. Cool. So now, should I put check mark? This is the market condition. We hope for the best. That's what I want to say. So then market condition, check mark. Then next is accessing the load board. I think this was Robert's question. There you go. Robert said we have accessing the load board. Then we have the fifth question is the issues with the carrier. Then last one we have how to get direct shippers for our carriers. And again, if you have questions, please let me know. Now, which load board would you suggest when, well, DAT load board specifically, right? So DAT has different options. Very simple. The less you pay, the less, I'm not going to say less load you see, but then you have less tools to use that basically gives you more productivity and efficiency. Think about it that way. The load you pay, $45, I think, or $49, something like that. But then there's a most expensive one, I don't know, maybe $200, $300. I have no idea. I never use that, but I have $180 per month. Why am I using $180? But if I told you that I'm not even dispatching, I'm not even a carrier anymore, but because for the teaching purposes, right? So I just do for research purposes, for teaching purposes. That's what I have. And it's just like, I think the personal preference. The more you go up, meaning as far as price goes, the more tools you will get. That's basically it. But can you book loads and move trucks with the basic subscription? Of course, yes. But if you need like, hey, live feed, for example, once the broker posts a load, boom, it appears on your load board. So if you pay like higher price, you will see live feed. As soon as the broker posts it, you will see on your load board. But if you pay less, you need to refresh to see that load, if that makes sense, right? So kind of efficiency and productivity, that's where I can put this. Now, the load board, that's the suggestion. The higher you go, then obviously the more tools you have. Suggestion, DAT1 Select. That's what I recommend or suggest. Okay? So, and again, I listed those reasons why I say use this. Now, are we able to get on it? Meaning, how am I going to get DAT1 Select? In order to get DAT1 Select, you need to have your business in the United States, meaning your LLC formed in the United States, and you must have a carrier. Those are the two requirements. As long as you have those two requirements, you have no problem accessing the load board. So that is that. Check mark. And then we have question number 5. 2 questions left, right? The carrier's issue and how to get direct shippers. Carrier issue. Robert asked this question, right? There you go. So, and Robert is one of our paid students or paid members, and he knows that because in the training we teach, like, if you have this problem, what will happen? Imagine coming back to this Atlanta Houston load. You book a load, and then let's say, what time is it right now? Let's say it's about 2 p.m. You're like, done. I dispatched. My trucks are moving. You went to a Starbucks with your friends, and your carrier calls you. Hey, like, we have a problem. Like, what is it? Well, it's actually load shifted. Well, I can't move. Like, I can't go. Like, I can't drive. Imagine you're sitting like you were so happy that you booked this load, and then, well, this is trucking. Anything, anytime can happen, right? So then what will happen? The first thing you need to do, I will just keep it simple, easy to understand, and then we'll just move, fast. So first thing needs to happen, call your broker. Call whatever, Mike, Jason. Hey, I just received a call from a driver. We are in Louisiana. We're almost there, but then, man, load has shifted. So we need help. First thing first, you call your broker, and broker will just work with you to solve that problem. Most likely, your broker will find a local, I don't know, services where they will come in with the forklift and try to help you, or escort, just basically, um, what is it? Maybe like not the distribution warehouse. There you go. Maybe there's like a closest warehouse. Your truck needs to go there. This is how you solve a problem. You don't do it yourself because broker gave you that load, and you must first thing first, you must call your broker, explain things like what happened in details. He might ask you like, send me an image or picture or something like that. I mean, picture. Ask your driver, send me in a picture, and let me see what happens. And then what he will do is start searching for the local services. And the second thing what we'll do is update the shipper. We'll say that, hey, we are almost there, but then we just receive a call from a carrier, dispatcher. That's what happened. We're on it. We're fixing it. Very important. Very important. And if you're thinking like, that will be a negative thing on my reputation, what will carrier think about me, what broker think about me, trust me, nobody will think anything, because everybody knows, everybody meaning in the transportation, they know that anything at any time can happen. So that's totally normal. Crashes, God forbid, a lot of bad things can happen. Load shifted, accidents, a lot of things can happen. So that's basically part of the business, right? So we're part of the process. Hope that helps. Now, we're done with the solving carriers issues. Another one is, the one is left, is how to get direct shippers. I think Lena asked this question. Is it? There you go. So I think this question. There you go. Lena said, how to get a direct shipper for a carrier. And she said, as a dispatcher, there you go, for a carrier. So if you're a dispatcher and you're thinking about getting a direct shipper, meaning manufacturer, connecting with your carriers, and I said that you cannot do that. It's illegal. If you wanted to do that, then you're basically switching the gears, moving from being a dispatcher, now you're a broker. Don't act as a broker being a dispatcher. That's illegal. Why? You need a broker MC in order to get shippers and connect your shippers with carriers. Okay? So you cannot do that as a dispatcher. But what you can do is help your carrier on his behalf, representing him. But now, since you have this dispatcher carrier agreement, you basically representing your carrier. Now you're becoming a carrier, right? As long as you have this mutual agreement, dispatcher carrier agreement. Now you use that, then with the help of a carrier, obviously, then you go and you start talking to a shipper, but then you're not mentioning your dispatching services. Hey, Lena's Dispatching Source LLC, I'm calling about X, Y, and Z. I have carriers. No. You cannot do that. That's a broker's job. Broker can do that because he has an MC, right? So, but when you call, you said, hey, I'm calling on behalf of Prime Express. We're a trucking company located in Atlanta, Georgia. So we move stuff. So let's work together. So, and again, for that, we have two ways to do that. One is obviously using load boards and getting leads, obviously. And a second, using the Google. Direct shippers, let's say in Atlanta, Georgia. If you're representing me, I'm in the flatbed market, let's say, then I'm okay with moving, let's say, construction materials. Think about plywood, right? And then what you do is you're searching for plywood distribution centers in Atlanta, and you start contacting them. That's how you get, right? So, and again, the reason why I'm not going into details, because you need to know the sales, you need to know the marketing. So basically, this is like an overview, like how the things work. So that should cover all the questions. So far, so good. You guys liking it? This format? You ask questions and I deliver. Is that cool with you? So sequence is best to keep continue. Abbas says, I think This is where I think I asked the question, do you guys like it? And you said the sequence is the best, meaning this, like you asking questions and I'm answering. Now, another question we have, let's go. Osman says, how can we get set up with every broker while having a new MC? So I'm thinking you are a carrier or you are a dispatcher representing a carrier, but then the carrier has new MC and you start calling brokers. So how we can get set up with every broker? Well, there's no such a way that you can get set up with the new MC with every broker. Why? Because not every broker works with the new MC. So that means there's no way. But then there's some brokers out there that can give you or assign a load, and then you can transport no problem. So now, Robert says rate confirmations. I have seen several rate confirmations, and they rarely mentioned accessorial issues. If the confirmation doesn't mention TARPs or lumping, does this mean that they aren't necessary? No, 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 no. It doesn't mean it's necessary. So if it's on the rate confirmation, then it's necessary. If it's not on the rate confirmation, you need to make sure before you signing the rate confirmation, mention those accessorial fees or whatever. So if tunnel, meaning truck order not used, happened, what happened? The lumper fees and everything. So then let your broker, or detention fees, let your broker to put those on the rate confirmation. If your broker says, oh no, we don't do that. We don't have accessorial fees. You deal with it, but it's rarely happens. But then if that happens, then you can do anything. Right? It's just you need to pass on that load. So, well, and again, remember this: everything and anything can happen at any time within the trucking. That's what it is, right? So, hope that helps. I love you how to explain how to get paid after loads is covered and the paperwork is done. Great, awesome. I'm glad you like it. So, Blaz says, I'm a new and I'm facing a difficulty to find a carrier. Can you please suggest me a something because dispatching is a saturated field these days? I don't think saturated. I want you to think about think abundance. Think about there a lot of money to be made. And if you're thinking like saturated, based on what data, for example, right? So we need to see, let's say, a proof when we say, well, I see that it's saturated. Well, I've been in business so long and I don't think it's saturated. Well, there are a lot of, trucks are moving and there are a lot of people, dispatching, a lot of people going into being a broker. I don't think that, it's saturated because to me, it's that not enough dispatchers out there that can dispatch, let's say, and offer dispatching services, even just a flatbed. I'm not even talking about the reefer market. I'm not talking about the driving market. I'm not talking about the box truck market. I'm not even talking about the heavy duty, those loads. I'm not even talking about the car hauling market, but I'm just talking about the flatbed, step deck. I don't think it's saturated. There's a lot of money to be made. Some people can make the business. Some people just break the business, and they just can't do that, and they leave. Right? Think about it. Imagine when I say I taught thousands of people, they go into the business, and then not many people have the capacity to just stay there until they get carriers and start, generating revenue for their businesses. So I don't think it's saturated. So if you have difficulty getting carriers, and please, when I post this, please watch because I already covered it. I think the question was how I get carriers. It's question number 2. So there are a lot of ways to get carriers, right? So please go back and watch. Since we have more questions, I will take a couple more questions and then we'll end the conversation. Now, there you go. Let me take, Lena says, shame of my English and afraid to not understand fast talking and terminology. Well, as if you understand me, I talk fast, right? And I talk too much maybe. And if you understand me in asking questions, that means you have a good English, right? So, and obviously put the practice make perfect, right? You need to practice. Obviously, this shame or this feeling like what other people will think about me. Well, at this point, I don't care. Like, I don't care what other people will think, but because, well, I have no control over what people will think about this. I have no control. People can respect me, people can like me, people can dislike me. It's just like that's what it is. You need to just deal and just go there and put yourself out there and just crush it. So, got it. Thank you. Makes sense. Great. Let me take this. I think it's important. Please explain how independent dispatchers get paid after all the paperwork. Do they get paid by the broker, by the carrier, and how? Okay, PayPal. What? I never like Zelle. Okay, PayPal. But what the last one? I never heard, and I never saw this before. It's like a payment processor. Wow. How to pronounce? I don't even. Okay, cool. So let's come back. When you have this proof of delivery and rate confirmation, now if you're an independent freight dispatcher, I highly recommend using a factoring company as a middleman. So what will happen if you use a factoring company like OTR Solutions? You just basically upload to OTR Solutions, and OTR Solution will take care of everything for you. So they will deduct whatever your cut is, and then they'll put the money or deposit money into your carrier's pocket. That's what it is. So I don't recommend using Zelle or other type of services, although it's option. But I highly, highly recommend working with a middleman. Why? So that you get protected, and your actually your carrier. Well, that basically means that you 100% sure that, well, not 100%, maybe 99.99% sure that you will get money. That means you will get paid if you have a middleman. That means factoring company. Okay. So let's talk about this. And how soon do they receive their payment? Within 24 hours, within even a couple of hours. So it depends on when you upload your documents. That's what it is. If you upload, let's say with the factoring company, if you upload the rate confirmation and POD, proof of delivery, before 12 p.m., you get paid in the same day. But it's like after 12 or after maybe 5 p.m., then you will get paid next day. So, well, if a load delivered today, your driver will send you the proof of delivery right then. So you take that. It's just like only the matters the time when he sends you the proof of delivery, right? So that's what it is. You take that and upload to factoring company. That's it. So inside the group, we actually did an interview. We invited into our group the regional vice president of sales, Nick Garcia, and he explained how to use their services and plus the CRM that they built for carriers and independent freight dispatchers. So let's see. Thank you for the clarification. Of course. Let's take this. Malik says 2QL works with the new authorities. You guys have to try with 2QL. Okay. So there you go. Let's take. Roger says, thank you for all the information you provide. Absolutely. You're welcome. Cool. Oh, wow. Bubble. Let's say you talk great and clearly understandable. Awesome. I understand you too. Cool. I think you should, make videos too. Let's see. Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I think this one is the last one. Let me say, Malik says, can you guide us how to get rid of a double brokers when we already booked a load with them, how to get paid from them? Double brokering is, think about like a cancer in the body, right? It's just like there a lot of fight is going on against these double brokering, these scammers. Let's say that way. But I think you need to do your due diligence and do like double, triple, make sure that you're getting the right broker. And again, I don't have the specific ways to like fighting with these scammers, but how to get rid of those brokers, I can't help you with that, be honest with you. So load board providers like DAT and Truckstop and other 1, 2, 3 load boards, I think they're obviously fighting back with these scammers, and then building these protections so that we can get protected from these scammers. Guys, thank you so much. And if you guys like this type of like Q&A where you guys ask questions, basically this is what I want to hear from you, and then obviously that's what I'm willing to do. And if you wanted to like go into in a fast pace and you wanted to learn, but there is, what is it? There you go. I think this link, yes, school.com/dispatch trucks. Guys, we have a membership, and you can join, and I teach and we do amazing stuff there. So if you're interested, please join, and we'll come back next week and we'll have another Q&A. Thank you.